Hawke's Bays Newstalk ZB mountain biking. That was Linda Smith. We turn our attention to tennis in just a moment. Simon Winter will be along.
Holden on Sport on Newstalk ZB with West Shore Beach Inn.
Great food, not fast food. Enjoy the environment at the West Shore Beach Inn.
Hawke's Bays Newstalk ZB looking at the world of coaching in Hawke's Bay this morning. We go to tennis now, another one of my favourite sports when I was at school. Simon Winter is with me. Simon is from the Hawke's Bay Lawn Tennis and Squash Club in Marewa, and also the Regional Development Officer, Simon.
That's right, Ross. Good morning.
Yeah, thanks for popping out, Simon. How's tennis going in general in Hawke's Bay?
I think right now it's quite positive. It's a global life sport that appeals to quite a few age ranges, but at the moment we've got a nice regionalised program that I'm implementing, which involves other coaches from around the region and creating squads that take place in different clubs as well as mine. So there's some positive structures in place and some very good junior results coming through at the moment as well.
When I was at school all those years ago, just about every school seemed to have a tennis court. Is that still the same this year nowadays?
Oh, I think there's a lot of courts out there, whether they be home one, private one, school, club. There's about 400,000 people, I think, that actually play tennis in the country, but a small portion of those are actually affiliated to clubs. So I think that's the challenge for tennis generally in the country, is to tap into more of those players and get them within an organised structure from the juniors right through to the adults.
Clubs struggling a little bit then to get big numbers?
I think the spend for tennis is a good one if you were to join a club.
What's your advice to young folk? I mean, say 5 years old. Let's choose an age. Say 5 years old. You can start playing tennis at that age?
I think, Ross, tennis is one of those beautiful sports that you can pick up at any age, and we have a program nationally that we implement here as part of the regional program called the Grasshoppers Tennis, which appeals and attracts the 4 to 7 year olds. So mum and dad can help with that just by, at that early stage, giving kids a balloon, a ball at home. It doesn't have to be out on a tennis court per se, but we've got a structured program that we can get them on court with improvised gear, soft balls, shorter rackets, so they can actually start competing at an early age, which wasn't around when I was that age, for example.
No, that was one of the problems with me. I was very small at that age, and so tennis racket was nearly as tall as me.
Yeah, mum and dad's old wooden racket.
That's right.
Wasn't feasible.
With the catgut strings, actually, it was my first one, not nylon. I graduated to a nylon strung racket. So you can start at 4, run through 7 with grasshopper tennis.
Grasshoppers tennis, and once the kids get identified at a certain talent and age group, then they feed into one of the tier 1 or 2 squads with some of the other coaches and the clubs, and from there, because we feed under the Waikato-Bays structure, there's a nice progression for our local kids to compete and train under Waikato, for example. Just before Christmas, the under-12 Waikato-Bays team played a tri-series in Wellington against Auckland, Wellington and Waikato, and of those 10 kids in the under-12s, 5 of them came from Hawke's Bay, which was great representation.
Yeah. So over 7, there's a structure to move them on. What about when we get into secondary school age group? You're getting people playing there?
I think all sports across the board struggle with those teenage children maybe being enticed away by other things. But at that point, if those players are at a certain level, they'll look to feed into the senior competition. But we have national teams events and national tournaments that they also travel around and play. More recently, again, the 12s age group at the moment, it's got some fantastic representation, and it was held in Waikato this year, where 2 players in particular, Olivia Addis made the semis, as with Finn Reynolds. So it's 2 players like this. Finn in particular ended up beating the 3rd, the 4th and the 9th ranked players in the country, and he finished as number 3 in the 12s for the country, and he's only in his first year in the 12s, for example. So there's some nice prospects on the horizon.
Very good prospect indeed. What do you coach as far as grunting goes? Are you a grunter with the backhand?
Me personally, no, and it irritates the heck out of it as well. The players you're talking about, Sharapova, it's quite off-putting, but it's them expressing themselves when they hit the ball and the effort that they're putting in.
Yes.
As far as viewing it goes, yes, it's a little irritating and not what I would advocate.
Yeah. Tennis is a very physical game. You need to be physically fit, don't you? So anyone playing at club level, do you recommend a sort of a fitness regime or minor fitness regime?
I think tennis encompasses a lot of different things, and it's just generalised fitness. But as the junior and senior players get better, then they've got to look after their bodies. Nutrition becomes more of an issue as well, and they can be playing right through their whole life if they look after themselves correctly. We're hosting the National Vets Tournament at the club at the moment, and we've got almost 200 players coming in, and these go right up to the over 80s. So it's one of those real life sports that you can pick up at 4, and we've got 80-plus-year-olds out there competing at the moment.
Do you expect any former internationals to come to that? Because they keep on playing, don't they? Those in New Zealand who have played at top level?
Yes, there were 1 or 2 that were due to come, recent Davis Cup players. Glenn Wilson in particular is here, and he's a former Davis Cup player as well as Davis Cup captain, and he's competing in the 40 to 45 age group. He's in the final, set down for today, but looking at the weather tomorrow.
Perhaps tomorrow, you think? Although there might be a bit of sunshine on those hills over there.
Well, we're hopeful that we'll get out there this afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm just being overly optimistic, perhaps. Yeah. So, tennis generally in pretty good heart in Hawke's Bay.
I believe it is, and it's a challenge in a small region like this to really produce those high-profile players, because it's a genuine, as far as I am concerned, genuine global sport that for us to compete nationally is fantastic, but to get out there and compete with South America, Europe, the States, there's thousands of top players out there. We're geographically isolated in New Zealand, so for us to get that high level of competition, it's a big ask to get us offshore, the money and the travel.
Simon, thanks for popping in today. Tell us about tennis.
My pleasure.
Hawke's Bay's Newstalk ZB. We change our sport to marching in just a moment. Stacey Simon will be with us.